Yo, what is up, guys? We finally did it. We killed Mythic Jaina. It was US 84, I think. I'm just gonna run heroic here in the background while I just kind of, talk about it. God, that boss. It's a tough boss. The main thing I gotta say is just, you gotta be prepared to just have like some tough, like mental, some tough mental tests. Some nights you're gonna have better nights. Some nights you're just gonna keep wiping in phase one. It's like it's that kind of a boss. It definitely it can be the guild killing type of boss. So you just got to stick with it. There's a lot of personal responsibility and there's a lot of group play. So one person can screw it up. Like it is very possible on Mythic Jaina, for one person to just do a really shitty avalanche and like drop it on three people, or to just be standing out and not bait the ray and having the ray just go in the worst spot. Or one person just not really looking at icefall and getting frozen by icefall. There's a lot of shit that one person can screw up. So it's definitely that kind of a fight where you can get tense and it can get hectic, and you're blaming people for their mistakes, but it's everyone's going to make mistakes. Like we had 434 wipes on this, and maybe about 415 of those are real wipes, like actual on the boss, like pulling. And here, of course, I'm just eating a fucking avalanche to the face. I'm an idiot. And then the frontal, so I almost get hit by the frontal. Not really. I think I dodged that. That was pretty good, right? Um, but yeah, I can't really say enough like how, it's just like it's a tough boss to just stay composed. Your composure through the entire fight, like going through phase one, through phase two, and through phase three, all the way to the end, right until she dies. Like just staying composed for hundreds and hundreds of wipes. That is hard. That's tough. It's definitely a much tougher boss than Mythic Gahoon was. Um, there's a lot of shit to do. So obviously I'm doing Marksmanship Hunter again. This is like our second heroic kill or something. So this is a very poor quality kill. This is not like a good kill. We were just kind of, we just kind of overpowered it with some good damage and healing. We didn't really need like a good strategy because we were already overpowering the content like the first week it came out. And I think we only killed heroic like twice, and then we went into mythic and we never went back to heroic. Um, but heroic does have some good stuff. There's some good examples. The ordnance, that's the same thing in mythic. A lot of it's very similar. There's a lot of these orbs to dodge in mythic too. Of course, I don't dodge it. Zixer didn't dodge it. The druid, a lot of people got frozen just there. Fucking terrible. Um, Again, this is probably like our, maybe 40th pull ever in this. So I don't know. I guess, maybe I'm trying to give us excuses here. But there's the Glacial Ray. We're all like spread out. Like we don't really have a plan right now. So this is really funny to watch. But Marksmanship Hunter is a great class for this. Marksmanship is great just for having bursty cooldowns. The true shot cooldown is just a really good, like, fire and forget kind of cooldown, because you just do that 15 seconds, you really focus, and you max that 15 seconds of true shot, and then you're free. You're basically free to just, do like your regular kind of slow rotation. And the normal, the regular marksmanship rotation is kind of a slow rotation. Like there's not a whole lot of hectic, like global cooldown maxing. You do want to max, of course, every spell. Like you would never stop casting, of course, but I just I like to say that marksmanship is a pretty easy spec to max on this fight. It's an effective spec to do that. And Beast Mastery is all right as well. I mean, Beast Mastery has more cooldowns and like keeping up the frenzy buff on your pet. So I don't like Beast Mastery as much personally, but it is doable, of course, on this fight. You just really want to have those bursty cooldowns and using them like right when you can, and then moving out and doing mechanics otherwise. But so the avalanche here. So one of the things in phase two, of course, is she avalanches the tank that has threat, and it starts shooting out those land sharks. So you can see those land sharks kind of going across, and they root you if they hit you. So if you get hit by a land shark thing, the frozen sort of, thing that's going across the ground, It roots you, and if you get rooted, you start taking more Chilling Touch stacks. And you do not want any extra Chilling Touch stacks. On Mythic, like, even getting one extra Chilling Touch stack can be pretty catastrophic, pretty disastrous, I guess I'm trying to say. And here, of course, this is where you lust. This is just where you're going to lust. I mean, there are maybe some other strats you could do, but I mean, this is really the only time to lust is on the wall. And as you can see, all the ranged DPS who are actually good players are actually hitting Jaina. I am not hitting Jaina. I was just hitting the wall the whole time. I'm fucking stupid. Oh well. Trust me, I get much better in Mythic as we get the kill. I actually am paying attention in Mythic. And here, so there's an important weak aura here. There's actually a really useful weak aura I just want to point out, and this is important on Mythic. The Tide Elemental here, there's a weak aura that gives a number over the Tide Elemental, and that number corresponds to our interrupt group. So basically, you have one group that is 4 people, and then the second group is 4 people, and the third group is 4 people. So 12 people in total, 12 interrupts. And usually you should put 2 ranged and 2 melee in each group. That way, like, if the melee have to run out for some reason, then a ranged can get that number group's interrupt. And of course, you are interrupting the water bolt volley. Because on Mythic, if a water bolt volley gets off, I mean, it is pretty much a wipe. It's very much impossible to recover from that. I mean, if it's right at the end of the fight, maybe you can just, just barely survive it out and just, maybe just barely finish her off. But if you're not getting those interrupts off, that's a big part of Phase 3, and we're in Phase 3 right here. And Phase 3 is definitely, it's definitely a hectic part of Jaina, of Mythic, but we wiped more in Phase 1 and Phase 2 than we did in Phase 3, and then we kill it. So it's like, Phase 3 is not the hardest part of the fight. It's just getting there and being calm and composed, and of course knowing what to do, because you don't get there very often. But there's not too much to do in Phase 3, so you just have to keep it together and make sure that you're just having good, consistent Phase 1s and Phase 2s. Here, this is a great example of why I'm fucking terrible and I shouldn't be making YouTube videos. I see her casting Glacial Ray, and it's like, okay, I mean, here it comes. Like, are you going to move, Goodwin? Like, no, he's not. I'm going to stand in the Ray, and there you saw I had 7 stacks, and then I went up to 12 and 18. Now I have 18 fucking stacks almost instantly, 19 stacks. So I'm about to get frozen. So don't stand in Glacial Ray. I mean, if you stand it on Mythic, you'll be dead anyway. I don't think it'll matter. But getting frozen on Mythic is a no-no. Like, you will never, ever get frozen on Mythic. On Heroic, you can also avoid it. I mean, but on Heroic, it doesn't matter because you can just break the blocks out. I mean, look, everybody's getting frozen here, and only one person died, and then we kill her. On Mythic, really, you should never get frozen. The tanks might get frozen, and that's okay because they do take extra stacks from Jaina's kind of pulsing tank shots. So the tanks, they might actually get frozen, and you can just break them out quickly, and you can recover from a tank freeze. So here you can see the wipe. So I have 28 on Heroic and 6 kills, so it's like, that's a really good conversion rate right there, isn't it? And then Mythic, 424 wipes. So not 430, yeah, 424. So it's a lot of wipes. And, again, you just have to, every pull, you just have to keep doing your job. And some of these pulls, like, I was just like, man, my neck hurts, and like, I don't want to be here. But you have to keep doing your job and just keep performing, and I really didn't let my performance suffer. Like, even when I was really tired and I was just like, God, I hate this fucking boss, and I hate these people, and I'm going to quit the game, and I hate everything. I still was maxing my global cooldowns. I was still firing ballista. I was still dodging fucking intermission shit. You just got to keep doing it even when you feel like shit. And, you got to maybe do some fun stuff, maybe go outside for a walk, try not to get too bummed out. So here the boat spawns on the left side, so we are starting Mythic here. So the boat is on the left side. Unfortunately, Curler, he's our front ballista firer. He gets Avalanche, so he's going to have to, quickly just get the fuck out. So me and Creepy have to move around, and we have to start overcompensating for that. So we're going to fire that ballista. Creepy's going to fire that one to cover for Curler. And then I think Curler got the back one. Yeah, he got the back one. Now, unfortunately here, the ballista, the center one here, you can see it gets lit on fire. So it actually gets hit by the bombardment from the Coltiran ship. So boom, that one's on fire. So if we were slow, or if we were kind of sloppy with firing the first three, then we might be behind and we would be kind of fucked right now, because we would probably get another wave of fire before we would be able to shoot all the ballista off. So it is extremely important that you fire all three ballista like first global. That's a meme, and it's an important meme, because whatever you do that first global, it is going to be the most important thing. And the most important thing is firing the ballista as soon as that ship is in range. So we did, and now it only needs 2 shots, and so we have the front and the back ballista available. Unfortunately, Creepy got that one. That was my job. I should have done that, and Creepy covered for me. What a swell guy. On Mythic, though, one of the changes in Phase 1, Jaina will freeze the nearest ballista to her. So you dictate which side she's on via the tanks. So you tell the tanks, hey, tanks, take her to green side or take her to blue side. And that way, as the ballista guy, I was kind of like the ballista commander, I guess. I was the commander for a lot of shit in this fight, but I was kind of like, okay, tanks, take her to blue and try to freeze blue, so freeze blue side, I would say, basically. So here, we just blew up the left side ship, so now the left side is kind of open, the port side. And there's a little trick you can do, so the word port and the word left, those are both 4 letters, right? So that's how you remember that port is left, and then starboard is right. So the port side, where the ship just was, and then we blew it up, that is a safe side to freeze, because we don't need it now, because the next one is going to spawn starboard side, and that's where we have all 3 ballista ready, ready to fire. There's no fire over there, there's no freezing, there's no bad shit. So in Mythic, she does another thing here, the ring. So this is kind of the rotation of abilities. She does ring, and then the boat, and then the thing, and then it's kind of the same rotation. We'll get used to it once you're doing Mythic. But she does Ring of Ice. If you're in the ring, you get ice blocked. And that's not good. I mean, on Mythic, the ice blocks have a lot of health, and it's just a lot of extra damage that you have to put in. And it kind of sets behind, some of your phase changes and transition stuff. So what you do is, as the ring is going and as it's counting down, you stand next to the fire, and then right as the ring is ending, you walk into the fire, and that breaks the root from her ring, and then you're free, and then it really does nothing. You take 1 tick of fire, which is like 15 or 20,000 damage. It's really nothing at all. And then you're good. I eat a frontal there. I'm a fucking idiot. Oh well. And so she freezes green again. That's good, because we want her to be on green side, freezing green, so that we have blue side open. Because you can see my weak aura right here, it says boat right side. So the right side now, the starboard side, is where the boat is about to spawn. It's almost here, and I'm going to run back, and boom. Try and fire it almost faster than that. I could have fired it even like a half second faster. And then I'm going to be looking. So right now I'm looking for which ballista is going to get lit on fire, maybe. And I think that first one, that front one is on fire. So I have to run back. I have to reset my stack there from getting frozen. And I was in True Shot there. I kind of wasted a lot of True Shot damage, but it really doesn't matter. Like, don't tunnel damage here, just because Phase 1 damage doesn't really matter that much, especially as a ballista runner. Ballista are so much more important than doing damage. And some of these attempts, like I'm doing great damage, and I'm at near the top of the meters, and then sometimes I'm like number 13 or some shit, because I have 0 uptime, and like I can't even use my second True Shot because I spend the entire phase trying to do ballista. Because sometimes you do get kind of just shitty phases where you can't really do the best ballista work. So there's one final thing here called for Phase 1, and this actually goes to the entire fight. It's the freezing blood debuff. So basically, I have this ring around me, and I'm going to get frozen. So this is kind of like you're out in the middle of nowhere. You don't have any body warmth. You don't have any friends nearby, so you're going to get frozen. So this exists through the entire fight. So you have to stay stacked the entire fight in order to get each other's body warmth to avoid getting frozen from this debuff. So as you can see, I'm getting frozen in 4, 3, to, okay, I'm back in the group and now I'm not going to get frozen anymore. So that's, that's something to watch. You definitely have to be playing around with that during the fight. And during the blizzard, you have to have 6 people. And when it's non-blizzard, you only need 1 person or maybe 2 people, depending on the level of blizzard, the level of iciness. But during blizzard, you have to have 6 people stacked up. As in, if you only have 5 people that are stacked up during a blizzard, they will all get frozen because there's not enough body warmth to keep everyone sort of unfrozen. So that's something to really watch and really be careful about. Obviously, Hunter this is the first of 2 really important jobs that Hunter specifically can do on this boss, and it's something I kind of enjoyed doing. So what you do is you select Jaina in your raid frames, you set her as a focus, and then you have track humanoids and enabled, and you should just have that enabled for every attempt. Don't turn it off. But what that does is it allows you to see her images on the minimap along with Jaina. So Jaina is my focus. So you can see up here in the top right on my minimap, Jaina is my focus. So you can see she's on the edge here. She's on the right side on the very edge. So we don't want to go right because Jaina is immune right now. We have to kill all the images first. On Mythic, you have to kill all 5 images and then you can interrupt Jaina and then continue the fight. So I'm going to say on Discord right now, I'm going to say 5-0, everyone go left, because you can see here all the images are on the left side, and then we're all just going to kind of sweep around the room, killing all the images, and then we get to Jaina, we interrupt her, and then we continue the phase. So there's the first image, that one's dead. Second image, getting to it, that one's dead. You have to interrupt every image as well, so you must interrupt them because they also cast the Howling Winds, and it starts spawning more and more of these frickin' orbs, that freeze you. So you definitely want to interrupt them and then kill them, and then you interrupt Jaina, and then you start phase 2 here. So the beginning of phase 2, you want to bait this Ray. So this is a big part of the fight. Baiting her Glacial Ray into the wall basically just negates that entire mechanic, and you just want to make sure that she's getting a very ineffective ray. So there's just a little bit of ice, and it's right at the edge of the room, and there's no like lost real estate, like there's no room that we have to move around with, or we don't have to deal with that anymore if you just bait the ray into the wall. So you will see there's a few times in the kill where you do want to bait the ray sort of into the wall. So again, the bait is coming. We already killed the first barrel. It's just like a heroic. You want to kind of time. You want to time when you're killing the barrels in order to reset your chilling touch debuff, because you don't want to get too high on that. But you also don't want to kill the ordnance too fast, because you need to spread them out in order to survive the entire phase. So I paused it right here. This is the exact time. This is the second extremely important job for a hunter here. This is the Eagle Eye for Icefall. So Icefall, just like in Heroic, it spawns like on, just in the room somewhere, and you see where it is. It's a big arrow. It's a big arrow that is just kind of pointing, and you see that it's pointing through the middle of the room, and so don't run in where that arrow is going to hit. So, basically if it's spawning here, like, don't run this way, like, be out of the way of where it's spawning. So there's actually a big problem though, because right here, this specific timing, it's really the only one in the whole fight. There's another one, but it's, it's less important. But right here, this is where you need to be next to this ordnance, because we need to reset our stacks in about 6 or 7 seconds from now. We need to reset our stacks, so we need to be near this ordnance. So what you're going to do as a hunter, you're going to Eagle Eye, and you can see where I have it selected. So it's up here at the kind of the top of the screen, and that's right across from us. So it's like right across from where we are, because I want to see if there is an icefall that spawns there. I need to see it, and I need to tell us that, hey guys, I got bad news. We have to get the fuck out of here. We have to start moving, and we would move right probably. We would start moving all the way right. Everybody, nobody is exempt from that. Like, stop healing, stop casting, and move, because you will get instantly frozen, and it'll probably be a wipe if more than like 1 or 2 people get frozen. So what you do here is you want to Eagle Eye, and I am in Eagle Eye right now, so I'm looking, and I don't see it. I do not see the icefall. So that means the icefall probably spawned just on the sides of the room somewhere, and it didn't spawn like right across. So we should be safe. You know, sometimes it's a weird angle and it might clip you just barely on the edge, but usually it's pretty safe if you just Eagle Eye there. So we're going to bait that Glacial Ray again. So after my Eagle Eye call, we didn't have to move or anything, so we're in a good spot. The icefall did fall across the center of the room, though, as you can see here. So we're not going to run through that. Like, that would be dumb. We're just going to pick up a bunch of stacks. It would take forever anyway. So we do have a Warlock portal, a gate. They put down a gate, and so we're just going to all gate across right now. So the broadsides spawn, the broadsides jump onto the last ordnance, and then everyone else, you know, gates across. So these are the land sharks again. These are what root you in place. And the icefall, you look at this icefall, it spawned right on us. So we definitely will have to move within the next 3 or 4 seconds. So do not get rooted here. So you can see I'm backpedaling and I'm being really careful. Like, I'm just like, all right, dude, just be cool. Like, I'm just going to dodge these these land sharks. Okay, that one hit the Warlock and he gets dispelled, but I think he gets frozen again. He gets rooted again, and then he gets frozen. So whatever. If one person gets frozen, it should be fine because you can just break them out. Or the ordnance will break them out as well. So we bait this final Glacial Ray. This is the last one of this phase. And it's the last one of that kind anyway. And of course, you want to try and stay in the ordnance as long as you can. You know, you want to try and get as much of that buff as you can. And then finally, they're dropping the last 3 broadsides of the whole fight. Well, no, of this phase. And then the final icefall is also spawning. So you can see the icefall on the left side here. That's a safe spot. That's a good spot for the icefall. So we don't have to move. We're in a really good spot right now. We want to hold DPS a little bit. So we are holding DPS just a little bit here, because we do not want to phase Jaina during this blizzard. So my blizzard is counting down at 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, now we can probably DPS again, and then let's phase her. Yeah, so she phases to 30, and this is right when we lust. All the ranged DPS are going to be doing damage to her. So you know, this is when you would like true shot, use your trinket. I hold my potion. I was holding my potion for my final true shot in the last phase. Just because I think it's a little better there, because you get the full 25 seconds. I don't think you would get the full 25 seconds there if you potioned. And then we kill Nathanos quickly. You just want to quickly, usually, I mean, this timing can be different depending on your group, but I think probably the best is just to kill Nathanos as quickly as possible, and then cancel your lust. That is, you know, obviously, you've probably heard about this if you were doing Mythic, but you want to make sure you have a cancel aura macro. So basically /cancel aura time warp or /cancel aura bloodlust, and make sure you cancel that buff, because when Jaina gets interrupted, and if somebody has the lust 30% buff, like haste buff, if they still have the 30% haste buff on them, then Jaina will immediately ice block for 30 seconds. And it really sucks. It's probably a wipe at that point because you won't catch up. You know, you can't catch up in damage because she doesn't take any damage for so long. So make sure you cancel your lust. And then finally, this is the final part of the fight. This is phase 3. We are not going to be moving really very far from this spot ever again. So this is really the end. What you want to do, you want to get stacked really, really tight. Like, make sure you're really tightly stacked, because what happens is, you can see here, so Creepy already has the heart, and I also have the Heart of Frost. So Heart of Frost is the debuff where it pulses to everyone around you, and it does damage, and it gives them chilling touch stacks. So you do not want to be standing in the raid with the heart debuff. So I run out a little bit. But you also need to make sure you're not getting frozen by the body warmth sort of debuff, you know, the chilling, no, what is it called? Freezing blood. So you want to be close enough for freezing blood to not get frozen, but you also don't want to be too close to the group that you're hitting them with heart. So there's a little in between where you need to, just make sure you're in the right spot and you're not getting frozen, but also not freezing other people when you have heart. And then of course heart lasts for 12 or 15 seconds or something, right? And then you just run back into the group when it ends. So I'm in back with the group here. And we have a few markers on people. That's basically, we're going to, always are standing on those markers. Make sure you're standing on the markers because we're going to bait the Glacial Ray. So this is just like all the other Glacial Rays, except Jaina has spawned another prismatic image, like another mirror image basically. And when she casts this ray, the image also casts the ray. So basically, Jaina is going to shoot it this way, but the image is going to kind of shoot it this way. So it's going to end up being like a little bit, of like a cross. So you want to make sure that wherever it is, you don't want to be in there. So basically what we do is we move right, she casts, and then we move left, and then we kind of just avoid the whole ray. So she's going to cast it right here. And then everyone moves left. I was late because I'm stupid, I'm bad, I'm terrible. This is our kill, and I'm playing like an asshole. But everyone moved left, so all that shit was on that side. But now we are all on this side now, so we're safe. We're good. Finally, we're still just getting those interrupts. This final siege breaker, so this siege breaker will be the last siege breaker, no matter what. It is the last siege breaker of the fight. And it goes on to wire. So wire, siege breaker blast on wire. And I mean, we love you, boy, and you're doing great, wire, but you got to get the fuck out of here and go kill yourself, because you don't want to try to save that wire, that siege breaker person. Just let them run all the way across the room and then just let them die, basically. It really, it's not a big deal to just sacrifice them. And then finally, the very last thing of the fight are the ice falls. There are 2 fucking ice falls. An ice fall just by itself is already a problem in this fight. So now you have 2 in the final phase. This is the only ones you'll get. So you just hope to God that you get ones like we did. Now check these ice falls out. Those are some lucky ice falls. Look, they're just going to fall right through the middle of the room. They're not even going to be close to our group. We don't have to move. We don't have to do anything. Those are great ice falls. We had several attempts. We had several attempts where the ice falls, they were just like, hey, guess what? No, you're dead. Like, sorry, I know you're trying, but like, we spawned perfect ice falls to just murder you. So, that will happen sometimes, and that is a part of phase 3 that you need to execute perfectly so that when you get lucky, you can maximize on that luck. And we got lucky there. We got hella lucky, and we maximized on our luck, and we got the kill right here. So she's seconds from dying. I took my broadside out of the group. Obviously, you just don't want to be in the group with broadside. And there she dies. The water elemental will still be alive. You really don't, you don't kill her. Don't kill the water elemental. But that's Mythic. I mean, that's a tough boss. It was pretty fun. When we killed it, I finally, I was kind of like, oh, finally. And everyone was so happy. And I will leave you guys here with the nerd screams. But this was a really fun tier, and I enjoyed this last boss. It was definitely hard. There's a lot of like new and fresh mechanics in this fight that we really haven't encountered in any way before. Like especially with the body warmth thing, keeping each other warm. Because if you're out by yourself, not stacked, you're gonna get frozen. So stuff like that. It's really, I kind of enjoyed that. But I'll leave you guys here with the nerd screams. I do not have a Siegebreaker, no, not Siegebreaker, Blockade. I do not have Blockade footage right now. Hopefully we will kill it again just on Tuesday, and I'll have a video for that. So that's the only thing left I have to post is just a Blockade video, and then I might just do some random videos about whatever shit. But I'll definitely do the Crucible. The 2 Crucible bosses, I'll definitely post those on Heroic and Mythic, when we kill those. And then I definitely am going to be going hard into, Mechagon and some, the Ajara raid, the Queen Ajara raid. So, I definitely hope you guys are checking those out. And I'll leave you with the nerd screams. Let's see, we are Yeah, ice falls are good.
This is it, boys. Let's get out with fucking
Hearts.
get out of this.
Hearts out. No.
So we let that orb of frost just go. Just let it go.
Here,
Ignore it.
Get the kick here. Get the kick.
You get that kick, that last kick.
Kill it.
No spell potions. Immunities.
I have nothing left.
Kill it. Let's go.
Yes. Oh yes. Feels good.
Do you need?
Oh my god! God damn! Put the titles on, boys! Put the titles on, boys! Let's fucking go, boys! Last pool magic, baby!
Yeah, that was our last pull of the night. So the last pull magic really came in handy there. Yeah, but thank you guys for watching this tier. You know, the videos might be a little sparse between this and the next tier, but hope you guys enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this tier, and I definitely will be playing Marksmanship Hunter going into the next tiers. So, you know, stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys in the summer sometimes, and thanks for watching. See ya.